Hello. Excuse me. Hello again. I don't know if this is the same live stream as before, but I can still see 6 likes on there, so it looks like good news. The app just died. The app just, what's the word? There's a word for that that's escaping me at this moment. Um, the app just went dead. It just dropped. There's a word for it, but I can't figure it out. Mariska's yelling something from back there. All right, so no, there's another word for it. Crashed. Yes, that is the word. So sweet Mariska, and you're my fact checking cuz. All right. So the church. We're gonna start this over. Non-corona coughs are going on right now. Luisa says hi. Sweet Luisa says hi. The church. Again, I think Luisa, you were telling me that yeah, it was weird. You were telling me that the image of the church was amazing or really good. There was a fellow named Larry Berger, who wasn't afraid of anybody alive, but anybody who was dead, it scared the wits out of him. One night, Larry was out driving in the country in his old Jeep when he got caught in a bad thunderstorm. The rain was coming down in sheets, just like at Louisa Lewis's house. I hope that scares you. If not, that's okay too. Since his Jeep didn't have a top to it, Larry started looking for a place to take shelter. But at the first place he came to, he didn't even slow down. It was an old deserted cabin, probably as dry as a bone inside. But Larry knew for a fact that it was haunted, and he wasn't going to stay there. A few miles farther, he came to an old abandoned church standing all alone in a field. It hadn't been used in years. All the window glass was gone, but it still had sections of the roof intact. So Larry parked his Jeep and ran inside. It was as dark as it could be in there. Larry groped around until he found a pew and sat down. It was nice and dry, just as he thought it would be, and he stretched his legs out and made himself comfortable. Suddenly, there was a big flash of lightning, and Larry saw that he wasn't the only one in the church. There were people sitting in almost every pew. They all had their heads bowed as if they were praying, and they all were dressed in white. These must be ghosts sitting in their shrouds, Larry thought. They must have come from some graveyard to get dry. Larry jumped up and ran down the aisle as fast as he could, right smack into one of the ghosts. And the ghost went, "Ah!" There you go. And next story. Ooh, I wouldn't want to play baseball with these guys. The bad news. The bad news. Speaking of baseball, baseball might be coming back to Montreal in the distant future, depending on, I don't know, near or distant, but baseball might be coming back to Montreal. Leon and Todd loved baseball. When they were young, they had played on the town's baseball team. Leon had been the pitcher, and Todd had played second base. Now they were a lot older. They spent their free time watching baseball games on TV and talking about baseball. "Do you think they play baseball in heaven?" Leon asked Todd one day. "That's a good question," said Todd. "The one who gets there first should let the other know somehow." As it turned out, Todd got to heaven first, and Leon waited patiently to hear from him. One day, Leon found Todd sitting in the living room, waiting for him. Leon was very excited to see him. "What's it like up there?" he asked. "And what about baseball?" "When it comes to baseball," Todd said, "I have some good news, and I have some bad news. The good news is we do play baseball in heaven. We have some fine teams. I play second base on my team, just like I used to in the old days. That's the good news." "What's the bad news?" asked Leon. "The bad news," said Todd, "is that you're scheduled to pitch tomorrow." Not much of a fan of baseball. NBA basketball and NFL football, you betcha, Louisa. Those are both fine sports as well. And I played 4 seasons of baseball when I was younger. That's why I have an affinity towards baseball. But to be honest, I don't really get into sports in general. But to watch them, but to play, I'd throw around a couple balls. I'd bat around a couple balls, or play some football with some buddies if the occasion arrives. Not too good at basketball though. I have to admit, I'm not good at it. That's the thing. I could get good at it, maybe, who knows. So cemetery soup. Cemetery soup. All right, let's see what we got here. On her way home from the market, the woman took a shortcut through the cemetery. There, sticking up out of the ground, she saw a big bone. She picked it up and looked it over carefully. "This will make very good soup bone," she said. "I think I'll take it home. It's perfect weather for some hot soup." When she got home, the first thing she did was start the soup. Into the big soup pot went water, carrots, green beans, corn, barley, onions, potatoes, a snitch of beef, some salt and pepper, and the bone. She brought it all to a boil, then brought it down to a simmer. "Yum!" she said, sniffing and tasting it. "I can hardly wait till supper." She suddenly heard a small voice. "Please give me back my bone." The woman paid no attention. Soon she heard it again. "May I have my bone back, please?" The woman was reading the newspaper, and again she didn't take any notice. In a little while, the voice spoke up once more. It was beginning to sound angry. "Give me back my bone!" The woman kept on reading the paper. "Some people are too impatient," she muttered. Once more the voice spoke. Now it sounded very angry, and it was so loud that the whole house shook. "I want my bone back!" The woman reached into the pot, grabbed the bone, and threw it out the window. In a voice just as loud, she said, "Take it!" There was an eerie silence. Then the woman heard footsteps scurrying away from the house, down the road toward the cemetery, and she got up and served herself some soup. The brown suit. This next, and we're getting close to the end of this book, The Brown Suit. So there is a headless man in there with two different types of hands and the brown suit. A woman came to the funeral parlor to see her husband's corpse. "You did a good job," she said to the undertaker. "He looks just the way he always looked, except for one thing. My husband always wore a brown suit, but you have him dressed in a blue suit." "That's no problem," said the undertaker. "We can easily change it." When she returned later, her husband was wearing a brown suit. "Now he looks the way he always did," she said. "I know you went through a lot of trouble." "It was no trouble," he said. "As it happened, there is a man here who was wearing a brown suit, and his widow felt that the blue suit would be better. He's about your husband's size. So we gave him the blue one and gave your husband the brown one." "Even so," she said, "changing all that clothing was a big job." "Not really," said the undertaker. "All we did was exchange their heads." Oh my god. Okay. Barum. Barum is the name of this, I think maybe the last story. Ooh, creepy, scary images here. Imagine being a 9-year-old elementary school student and seeing this stuff, like I was. It didn't phase me though, honestly. I love these things. Excuse me. Just getting a dry throat, no corona here. It's actually to the Irish washerwoman, to the tune of the Irish washerwoman. This is a song. I will not make your ears bleed with my singing voice, but there you go. O'Leary is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. Oh yeah, O'Leary is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead and O'Leary don't know it. They both are dead in the very same bed, and neither one knows that the other one's dead. Baroom, baroom. There you go. O'Leary is dead and O'Leary is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead and O'Leary don't know it. They both are dead in the very same bed, and neither one knows that the other one's dead. O'Leary is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead and O'Leary don't know it. They both are dead in the very same bed, and neither one knows that the other one's dead. O'Leary is dead and O'Reilly don't know it. O'Reilly is dead and O'Leary don't know it. They both are dead in the very same bed, and neither one knows that the other one's dead, and neither one knows that the other one's dead. Baroom, baroom, baroom. There you go. And if anyone out there can read music, you have the sheet music here. When I play music, I play by ear, but you have the music here if you need it. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. Excuse me. Yeah, exactly. Exchange their heads. Bunch of bums. When we moved to Schenectady from Schoharie, we rented a house awful cheap, cause it was spooked, and nobody would live in it. But we didn't care, cause we didn't take no stock in no spooks. We had just gotten to bed the first night, dog tired from riding in a wagon all day. We hadn't had time to shut our eyes when we heard a thumpity thump, coming down the attic stairs. I covered my head with the blankets, but I couldn't shut out the sound. Thumpity thump, it went. I could hear it plain as day. Past the bedroom door, thumpity thump, and down the stairs, thumpity thump, and through the kitchen, thumpity thump, and down the cellar stairs, thumpity thump, making the most awful racket you ever heard. It was more than we could stand, so we all followed the sound to see what was going on. When we got down the cellar stairs, we saw that it was a chair that had made all the racket. There it was, one of its legs pointing to a place on the dirt floor. We all just stood and gaped and gawped till my brother Ike said that he believed the chair was trying to tell us something about the place it was pointing at. So Ike went and got a shovel and started digging. He didn't have to dig far before his shovel struck something hard. Pretty soon we could all scary story, Bird. Pretty soon we could all see the edge of a box sticking out. We all hollered for him to hurry up and uncover the rest of it. And the chair, it got so excited, it jumped up and down like it had gone plumb crazy. When Ike got the box uncovered, Pop and the boys pried off the lid, and there was the blood, and there was the body of a man all smooched with blood. It was plain as the nose on your face that he had been murdered, and the chair wanted folks to know about it. Right then and there, we decided to leave. Being strangers, everybody would think that we had murdered him and come here to hide the body. It didn't take us long to fill up that hole and get out of that house. The chair was awful mad about our leaving. It went up the cellar stairs, thumpity-thump, louder and louder, louder than when it had gone down. Then it thumpity-thumped up the next set of stairs, and the next louder still. When it got up into the attic, it thumpity-thumped so loud we thought it would thump all the plastering down on our heads. Nobody asked why we were moving out so soon, because nobody ever stayed more than one night in that place, and most not that long. But I can tell you, we were thankful to get back to Schoharie, where chairs stay where they're... But I can tell you, we were thankful to get back to Schoharie, where chairs stay where they're put, and don't go raring and rampaging around scaring folks out of their wits, pointing out murders and goodness knows what. And that, my friends, is the end of this book. At least, I don't know how many pages the original book has, but we're on page 80. And that's all that's left in this book. So I don't know if I'm missing stories, but if I ever get the opportunity to borrow the full version of More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I will let you know, and I will go live and I will read these to you. Next week, coming up on Thursday night, I will be reading part 3, Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Bones. And on that note, again, we all know what's going on. Stay safe, guys. Just be careful. Make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. I personally am a fan of social distancing in a respectful manner, so I would definitely recommend that. And yeah, so, other than that, there's nothing much you can do. Just stay safe, take care of each other, love each other, and, just be careful. All right, guys, have a beautiful rest of the weekend, a peaceful, loving, fun-filled rest of the weekend, and rest up and get energy to take on this week that's coming up. Much love and respect. Daddy's still broadcasting. Signing off for now. Ciao, guys.